In this video, we are going to talk about the next update coming with this, I guess say anniversary celebration. We're still kind of in anniversary, not really. The anniversary ended with Nanami's banner, which of course, if you haven't already seen the summons, I already have them up on the channel. But we are looking into the Christmas celebration, which is the first half of the Christmas celebration. And we got some pretty hard hitters when it comes to characters that are going to want your court. And when I say big hard hitters, one of these are a super hard hitter just because they are coming pretty quick. In all honesty, of course, the accelerated schedule is making some of these really strong characters come out a lot quicker, making it a little bit harder for us to save our cords. But looking at the characters that we will be receiving are going to be the Pierce Crit, Sumomo, Diva Ruka, and then Ichigo. Now, right now, talking about these three characters, two of these guys are pretty important. One optional if you want to be important, and one is kind of a must pull. I'm not gonna lie to you. The first character we're gonna talk about real quick, because I think it's a very important character to talk about, is going to be Diva Ruka. Diva Ruka is going to be our next, and I mean super next best support in the game for a long time. You know how we had Yinksha, and she was our #1 support, our best character for any team because of her hit count buff. Well, we basically have Yinksha ×2 because of all that Diva Ruka can provide. Diva Ruka is going to be giving allies for 7 SP, 3 turns of hit count up, and this cannot stack twice. And these 3 turns of hit count up, this doesn't get used when you use your attack. This gets used after 3 turns are up, so you can do as many attacks as you want with this hit count buff as long as it's within 3 turns. And of course, if you have overdrive, this extends it even longer. So this is going to be the brand new Yinksha. Diva Ruka will be our brand new Yinksha. And the condition here to make it between a 3 hit count buff versus a 5 hit count buff is that the character is a diva already, which is going to be what her EX skill is. Her EX skill, not gonna lie, pretty insane. 5 turns, so again, not a buff that gets expired after your first attack. This is a turn based buff, which means that after 5 turns, then it will disappear. These cannot stack twice. 5 turns of frontline crit rate up, and it's up to 100%, which is guaranteed crit rate. Guaranteed to crit. 5 turns frontline crit damage up, which is by 100%, which is absolutely insane again. And then also 5 turns of party diva. Now, the whole thing about the diva status is that you're able to get DP back from the damage you're dealing, which is pretty nice. And not only that, you can use EX skills regardless of remaining uses, so this can be strong on a crazy amount of characters, depending on which character you're going to be looking at when it comes to the Pierce Crit characters, when it comes to potential buffing of other characters. The only time this doesn't get changed is when you are using a orb skill or anything like that, that makes it so that those are like strict, that you can't make those any higher, because those are not going to be EX skills, if I'm not wrong. I know there are other characters in the future, like I think Admiral Aoi, I think she changes that up with one of her passive skills or one of her skills period. But this is going to be a pretty strong character, and basically our next best character when it comes to not only the multi-hit buff, but also for just general buffing purposes. Crit rate up, crit damage up, being able to recover DP based on damage dealt. You can use EX skill no matter what, and then you also have hit count buff, which is absolutely insane. She also has some other cool things in her limit breaks. On her limit break 0, she is giving frontline SP recovery to 2, which is actually insane. And then not only that, of course, limit break 1 is going to be giving yourself 1 SP, and limit break 3 makes so that anybody who is the active diva gets a self SP cost reduction by 2, which is, ooh, that's nasty, man. That's gonna make certain combos really strong. That's gonna make certain characters a lot stronger, because some characters can already lower their SP by a certain amount, and being able to do it more so makes it a lot faster for you to hit some of these thresholds of SP that you need to be able to get the ball rolling with whatever character. So Diva Ruka is definitely going to be that character that you really want to pull. There's usually not a character that I go out and say that you must pull this character, because we've gone over overriders. They are pretty strong, but I never say that they're must pull. I think the only time I've said they're a must pull is Yinksha when she came out, because she's basically the end all be all of hit count until right now. This is going to be the same thing for Diva Ruka. Diva Ruka is going to be your must pull. Of course, it is gonna be a little hard because we did just get Eunice and Yuina. We had the Angel Beats collab that just came out as well. And then we are expecting probably more characters with this Christmas celebration. Besides some of the characters that we're going to talk about today, I'm assuming that in part 2 we might see Admiral Aoi, we might see Eunice and Yuki. There's just a lot of really great characters that are in the timeline really close to each other, which makes it a little hard to figure out when we're supposed to use our cores. But if there's any character at all to use your cores, this is going to be the character. Diva Ruka is definitely a super strong character without a doubt. The next two characters to talk about is going to be Sumomo and Ichigo, who will be on their own banner as well. Sumomo and Ichigo, to make this really easy, Ichigo is not really the most important thing in the world. Ichigo is going to be a token-based light character, which can see some use in the future with the white suit Yuina. But not necessarily the most important thing in the world. This is just going to be a really hard hitter Ichigo, and I really like this artwork as well for her. The main prize of this banner is going to be this Sumomo. Now this Sumomo is going to be a part of the Pierce crit meta, which, like I said, gets really important or gets really strong in the future, and it's already strong right now. This Sumomo specifically is going to be strong for a couple of reasons. One, of course, she's Pierce crit, so she can brute force whatever she wants, and not only that, she has an HP modifier as well on top of it, which is really good. Not only that, she gives herself attack up, which is actually really strong to have on a character that has Pierce crit, because this allows her to be able to self-sustain herself and allow you to put more characters on the team that don't need to rely on buffing her leg with attack. And then she has a passive skill that can be put on any Sumomo in the future, and it's going to be really strong on this one, which is self skill use recovery. Recover one skill use when you defeat an enemy with your own attack. And because she's a Pierce crit unit, it's going to proc very frequently, which is really nice. I don't think this is a one-time thing. I think you can keep getting it, which would be absolutely insane. I think she's going to be like the queen of arts battle, which I cannot wait for, because that's probably one of my favorite things in the world. And then after you beat an enemy with this Sumomo, you are giving yourself morale level, and this is going to give you plus 5 stats and plus 5% skill attack, and it goes up 10 times for each stack. So you can get up to, what is it, 50 extra additional stats and 50% of skill attack bonuses just from taking out enemies. So she's probably going to be really nice around farming dungeons and whatnot. The only problem is she is single target, so you are going to have to make that work with a single target character in the dungeon if you're going to be using that. If you get her limit break 3, she's going to have herself hit count buff, so not only does she give herself an attack buff, but she also gives herself hit count, which is all really good stuff. And those are basically the 3 units that are going to be inside this celebration. Now there is some kind of bad news with this, besides the general event stuff, like we get the Sumomo event, we're going to be getting 3,000 quartz and 75 life stones. Chapter 5 part 2 will be coming out, which is absolutely amazing. And then I need to catch up on that. I am so far behind, it's not even funny. We're going to be receiving Christmas celebration gifts. We're going to get quartz, tickets, all that different type of stuff. But the one thing that is going to be a little upsetting, just a little bit, of course, new score battle, orb skill, fire banner, this stuff is not gonna really matter. The main thing that's gonna matter is that we of course have Diva Ruka's banner and Ichigo and Sumomo's banner. Now, in all honesty, good. Usually when they're right next to each other, that means that we're gonna be getting shared pity. But that usually is the case. I could be wrong about this assumption, which if I'm wrong, then that's good for everybody, because this will make it super easy for anybody to grab a character if it's going to be free every day, which is a multi, if I'm not wrong, or is it a single? I forget. I think it might be a single. I'm assuming because it's going to be a daily free single on Ichigo and Sumomo's banner, I feel like they wouldn't allow that to share pity on top of Diva Ruka's banner as well, because it would make it a lot easier to hit pity, of course. And I feel like if they're gonna be in any way, shape, or form trying to get as many quartz out of us, or having to spend to get Diva Ruka with all these crazy banners that have been coming out so far, with the Eunice and Yuina, with Angel Beats collab, with the Diva Ruka, with possibly future Admiral Aoi and Eunice and Yuki, we might be in some pretty rough shape. So I'm hoping that these do share pity. That would be really cool, especially with the daily free single. We are going to be getting a lot faster in terms of getting close to getting max pity with Diva Ruka if you don't end up getting lucky, which would be really good. I would love to be proven wrong, but I just feel like because we're getting the daily free single on the banner with Sumomo and Ichigo is not going to convert over to Diva Ruka, which would be a terrible thing. Me personally, because I think that would be really nice to be able to, like, let's say hit max pity for Ruka and we get Ruka at the end, we could pick up Sumomo. We basically got two really strong characters to go. But because we're getting that daily free single, I am very, very scared that they're not going to share pity because of the fact that they will have their own free pulls on that banner. But if they do, that'd be really cool. Other than that, that's pretty much going to be it for the celebration. It really is just Diva Ruka the patch. And of course, we're going to be seeing chapter 5 part 2 coming out very soon. I don't think it's coming out exactly on this date. I think this is just to catch up before it comes out, because I think we had another post that I didn't get to cover a long time ago that says the release date for chapter 5 part 2. But other than that, that's going to be it for this video when it comes to the Christmas celebration. Yes, Diva Ruka is definitely going to be a very, very important character for a lot of y'all to be grabbing. She is a pretty big beast when it comes to support in general, and hopefully when she comes by, everyone gets some good luck so that they can grab this character because she's super cool. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching. See you on the next one, and peace.